Father,
which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
I want 3 volunteers to do the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pledge allegiance to the Christian flag and to the Savior for which it stands, one Savior, crucified, risen, and coming again, with life and liberty to all who believe.
Right here? Okay. There we go.
Pledge allegiance to the Bible, God's holy word. I will keep it a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And I will hide His words in my heart, that I might not sin against God.
Thank you, babies.
Shut up, Roger. Take your bag. Get back to you. I've never tried.
Dear Heavenly Father, all the blessings you give us, please accept this offering and guide and direct the church where you use glory and honor. And God, please direct us to use the money to bring more people to you, God. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Before I start this morning, I want to talk about something else we were talking about. I won't bore you, it won't be long, but I like to think about unity in the church. I love to think about unity. And it really tickles me that, like, if I've been studying through the week and I've read about something that's really meant something to me, that I've really understood, and it really teaches on it on Monday, or on Sunday or Wednesday. It makes me feel like, well, we're together as a church. And Greenman and Gary and I like to, we'll talk about something in the Bible before church each week, a lot of weeks, and me and Greenman was talking about something in Gary, and Roy come in and started teaching. When he was teaching what we were discussing. And I thought, I look back at Green or Norman, I give her a wink, say, hey, yeah, that's what we was talking about. And now, don't that make you feel good when you've been reading something and realize, hey, look, that's what Roy's going to teach on today. It makes you feel good. I like to look up and see everybody smile. We don't smile enough.
True.
We need to smile more. If you would, I'm going to turn to Luke chapter 15. We'll cover a couple things this morning, and I'll try not to get excited if I can. I preached on this last week, and Roy wants me to try to teach on this, so if I get a little bit excited, you just look over me, okay? So we'll start out here in the first chapter, and he says, then draw near him all the publicans and sinners for him to hear. I saw that word publican, and I thought, man, this is Republican. It's publican. And you know, you think about it, what's a publican? And so I got the reference out, and I looked it up, you know, it's a tax gatherer, right? So here sits Jesus, he's sitting over here, he's over here with a bunch of guys that are sinners and publicans. And I thought, you know, do we,
They call them IRS now.
yeah. And he said, and the Pharisees and scribes murmured, saying, this man receiveth sinners and eateth with them. Now you think about that, we think about people, what we think about as we teach and think about as we read our Bibles and study. What would you think if today we left church and you looked down the side of the road, you saw me sitting in there with a bunch of people sitting around drinking, having a big old time, and I'm sitting there with them. What would you think?
Just like,
Right. You get to doing that stuff, you have to be careful, because you get to going around, we have to go to sinners. And I'm gonna get into something here in just a few minutes that'll make you think about that also. But we have to be a light for people in this world. Sometimes we just go through the world, we don't witness to anyone. We just go through, we come to church, we do what we gotta do. And that's all we do. And he said, what man of you having 100 sheep, if he leaves one of them, doeth not he leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after that which is lost, and when he finds it, until he finds it, I'm sorry. And when he found it, he hath found, layeth it on his shoulders, rejoicing. And I think about all the things, and you know, I used to raise hogs and stuff. Hogs would get out and chase them for half a day. You think about how happy you are to get that thing, to get that hog back in the pen, or you are to get that cow back up. You know, you don't think about the other 5 that you got there in the lot. You think about that one. Well, sometimes we think about one. All we think about is that one, us. But we can't do that. It's neat how you think about one. And I'm getting to this more. We always say we want one more.
True.
We want one more. Okay? Let's think about it this way. Aren't you call your friend, you get them to come to church? That's one more. Hazel, she thinks about somebody, she calls them, she gets them to come to church, and that's one more. We can't get anybody here unless we get them in there. So
Right.
we gotta get them here first. Think about just one more. We've got to have one more. And you think about the one more, if everyone in the church this morning brought one more, just one, we set. Think about it. One more. How important it is. And when he comes home, he called together his friends and neighbors, saying to them, rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost. And you know, like I said, we're all happy, we've got that one, we've got it back in the pen, we've got it all. But when we see one more come into the church, I was so impressed the other night, Wednesday night, when this little girl stood up and witnessed before the church, because he tells us, confess our sins before man. And she stood up just as proud as she could be.
Yeah.
But we have to understand she needs help. And we as a people have to help her. We have to help her along. Because see, she's gonna be that one more. And that one to come with her, that's another. I'll show you some of my math here in a little bit. I say unto you, likewise, joy shall be in heaven over one sinner that repenteth, more than over the 99 just persons which need no repentance. Think how happy Jesus Christ is each day, and the angels when one more comes to the altar. But you have to remember, we can't have that one more. Is there a sinner in the church this morning? And I don't want you to raise your hand. But if I would know all of you, most of you, I know all of you. I don't think there's a sinner in this church this morning. The only way we can get them to salvation is to bring them through that door right there. And that's the only way. We say one more, but we can't think about one more. We've got to think about 50 more. Look at how much it would be if each and every one of us could bring one more into the church. It said, either what man have, or woman, have 10 pieces of silver, if she lose one piece, doeth not light a candle and sweep the house, and seek diligently till she find it. And as I was reading that, I like to kind of put myself, as I read and study, I like to put myself in a situation that they're in, that I wanna be there with them, and try to think about what they would do. And I think back when I was a child, people didn't use banks like they do now. People didn't have that much money to start with. But you think about back then, you know, we had a certain amount of money we were allowed to spend for groceries each week. And I think, well, what would mom and dad have done if they had lost that money? They'd lost that $20. Think how hard all of us would have looked for that money. Well, think how easy it would be if we would all ask for one more. If we'd all ask, won't you come to church with me? Just yesterday, I was talking to, or day before yesterday, I was talking to a bunch of people, and I said, I don't claim to be nothing. I claim to be a Christian. I claim to do I try to do what I think God wants me to do.
Right.
And I said, I'm fortunate enough, the Lord lets me give a message every month. And I would like for you all to come. Just come one time. And not just to hear me, but to understand what it's about in church and how happy you can be in church.
True.
Because we've got to have that one more. And when he had found it, she called her friends and neighbors together, saying, Rejoice with me, for I found that one piece that I had lost. And I think how happy we would have been to have found that one piece. And, you know, today we think we make the money we make it as we work and how much money we make. The Lord has blessed me, and I've made good money as I've worked through my life. But I can remember my dad, when you're building a bridge, I think it's called tying steel. They put rebar down. I'm sure if y'all's driven past bridges, you've seen it. And it's a chore. It's really a hard job. My dad got 10 cents an hour extra for laying tying steel. 10 cents an hour. And he was tickled to death. I had a brother that they give him a 15-cent raise. He told him it's harder to keep it. And they did. But now we think about that. I got a quarter and he got a dime, and he wasn't happy because I got a quarter and he got a dime. But you think about that. We think about things, and you know, I say that to kind of make you happy. But you think about the people that are in this world that don't know Jesus Christ, you can talk to them about it. I was talking to a little girl the other day, and I was telling her a story about Adam and Eve. And I was telling her about Cain and Abel, and I'm just kind of telling her a little story to get her interested in church, because she's going to raise my grandson one day. She's raising my great-grandson. And she looked at me and she said, you know, Butch, I've never heard that story before.
Yeah. Right.
Now think about that this morning.
That's right.
I've never heard of the story of Adam and Eve. What kind of light do we put on in this world if people don't even know about Adam and Eve? You know, that's the first thing in the Bible.
Yep.
How many of us witness to people when we leave this church each day? How many witness to Jesus, about Jesus Christ to people?
True.
Tell them little stories. Tell them about Jonah and the whale. Tell them about Samson. There's all kinds of neat things that are so true and interesting. If you would just tell those people about them, let them know about it. We have to be a light in this world, no matter what we do. We have to be a light for Jesus Christ. And he said, likewise I say unto you that join the presence of the angels of God over one sinner that repenteth. Now you think about that. We think about one sinner. Well, if you don't have a sinner in the church, how are you going to get that one more? And like I said a while ago, if each one of us would bring one person to church. Now I know I try all the time to get people to church, and I know how hard it is.
Right.
But you just think how happy the angels in heaven would be if we could all get one more. Because we can get them there, we can get them here eventually if we can get them to come to church. It's important, you know, we think about one more, we think about one person coming to the altar. But we have to think about our church, how we can make our church grow and do things. I told them at the first church the other day, there was 14 of us there. I was so happy I couldn't stand it. There was 14 people in church. But I told them, I said, you know, you 14 of us are here, and that's counting Ethel Sue and I. And you say, well, 14 people, but just think, if they was all bring, okay, if Lawrence brings one, that's two, that's one. Hazel brings one, that's two. You start adding up, that's 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16. You don't even know I can count that high. But if you think about that, that's how we'll build the churches, one person at a time. As we build the churches, we'll get our people saved and do the things that we need to do. But just think about when you think about one more. We think about one more, that's all we think. But I think about 100 more. I want to see 100 more. I want to hear the angels shout from here. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to worship. We've got to do the things that we need to do. We have to turn our light on, let our light shine in the world. It's just like talking to that little girl. You think, well, what does that mean? She's heard a story.
Yeah.
She's heard about the Bible. Maybe that'll pique an interest in her. Well, what am I missing out on here? Think about that. Think about how happy these people could be if we let them see how happy we are when we come to church. If there's nothing I hate to see worse, is to see a bunch of people come to church and sit around like they're bored to death.
Amen.
I am so happy when I come to church. Some days it's just all I can do just to stand still back there when we're standing up.
Bless you.
But that's the way we have to be about it. We have to be happy and excited about it and let Jesus Christ know, hey, we appreciate him hanging on that cross. We appreciate what he done for us. How many times have you told people about Jesus Christ, that he hung on that cross? He was born of a woman. He lived and died, taught on this world. He hung on the cross and he died for me. An old lowly sinner that don't have nothing, but he died for me. He died for you. He died for everybody. No matter what we are, if we're sinners or not.
Right.
He died for us all. How many times? But the good thing about him dying is he rose again. He come out of that old grave.
Sure.
And that's what we have to realize. I hate to hear people say, well, mom's in heaven, dad's in heaven. No, they're not. They're dead. They're asleep. Let me rephrase
That's
that.
right.
They're in the grave. They're going to come out for a judgment one day.
True.
Now we'll get into one here. It's called the prodigal son. I want to go on with this too, because if you think about the prodigal son, it'll all go right back to the one more. And the point I want to get across this morning is one more. And we have to think about it that way. But we have to think about it. I have to think about one more as well as you have to think about one more.
Right.
And let people know. Let people know that you're excited about Jesus Christ. Let them know that you're excited about going to church. Let them know that you want to get up on Sunday morning. Let them know you want to get up on Wednesday evening. Whatever day you go to church. Don't say that. I almost said some of these people, I don't know. He says, and the younger of them, wait a minute, and a certain man had 2 sons. And when I read this, I think I've got 2 sons, and I'm blessed with them. I cannot get my boys in church, and that's my fault. I failed them as they were young, and I didn't get them in the church like I should, and I made mistakes that we all have made. And we think about our sons. My youngest one, he'll go to church once in a while, but the oldest one won't even talk to me about it. He respects me and does the things like that. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falls to me. And he divided unto him his living. I used to think the youngest son comes to his dad and he said, Dad, I want everything you're going to give me right now. I want half of it right now. Well, here you go. You got a young man who's probably never had to work in his life. Never done nothing. Just took it easy. Dad took care of it. How many of us has done that? How many of us sons have we made mow grass? How many of us sons have we spanked her behind? Daughters? Think about it. Think about it. Our kids today just feel like that the world owes them a living. But after a while, you say, well, it's the parents' fault. After a while, they're adults, and they have to know right and wrong. Sometimes they just don't get into the right and wrong. It's all owed to them. So he said, okay, and not many days, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country. And there he wasted his substance with riotous living. If we don't work for what we have, if everything is handed to us, we don't respect it. We don't take care of it. Everybody wants to give, and I can just imagine this boy. You just imagine this boy. He's got all this stuff he's got. I don't know how wealthy his dad was, but he's got everything he could want. what's the first thing he does? He goes out and starts having a big-eyed time. Don't worry about nothing. Just do whatever you gotta do. Think about Christians today. I think about people today and think about the sinners in the world, and all they think about is what's going on today. What am I gonna do today? What am I gonna do this weekend? Then Ethel Sue's got to go to the funeral home this evening. A little boy, 54 years old, that she used to babysit for, riding a four-wheeler, planning on going to work the next day. Well, he's not going to work the next day. He got killed. When is God gonna say our time is up? We have to be prepared. We can't waste it like this young man has done here. I think he called him the prodigal son.
While the government's in such a deficit.
Amen. I agree. I think it's not. And not many days after the younger son gathered it all together and took his journey into a far country, and he wasted on his son's brightest living. And when he had spent he spent it all, there arose a mighty famine in the land, and he began to want. How many people do we know that want? That's right. There's a lot of people that want. Everybody wants something. Well, he had it all. He done wasted it. Now he's wanting. He said, oh man sakes, what have I done? What have I done? I've wasted everything. Has any of us ever wasted anything? And he went and joined himself to the citizens of the country, and he went into the fields to feed his pigs. Now here you go. He's probably been living way up here high and mighty, wearing nice fancy clothes and all that. Now he's feeding the pigs. You can't get much lower than that. Now you think about that, but you think Jesus Christ will bring you down just as well as he'll bring you up. He'll put you down to put you up. And I really believe that. I believe that with all my heart. So now he's down there feeding the pigs. And he went and journeyed into the sea. And he would have fain had his belly let me start over. And he would fain have his belly, have filled his belly with husks that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. And as I read that, I think about husks. I made a mistake as I was reading. I was thinking about corn. And I'm sure all of you have saw the husk, we call it the husk on the outside of the corn. And I can you imagine sitting trying to eat the husk of a corn off of corn? It'd be kind of dry, but it'd be chewy too. But I got my reference out because if I'm not sure about words, I'll always take my reference and look at the meaning to it. And in my reference, back in those days, the husk is the fruit of the carob tree. It's very common in the East and the Greek islands, where it is in great request for fattening hogs. It has a sweetish pulp and tender-like seeds that are like a bean. And the leaves are like our oak trees. Now we think about that, now maybe that wouldn't have been too bad to eat, but still he's eating the same things that the hogs eat. I think about people in the world today, and I think about all these homeless people.
Yeah.
We think about homeless people. Well, they're just too lazy to work. A lot of people are homeless because they choose to be. But also, a lot of people are homeless because they're homeless. They have come to the end of their road. They have no means of support. I think a lot of times people are too proud to work at McDonald's or Hardee's or Wendy's
Right.
they're too proud to work at a place like that. And I'm gonna provide for my family regardless. But there's a lot of people that won't. And we think about people, and I think about, I'll see these homeless people as I go through Charleston,
Yeah.
that's what they're a lot anymore. And I see these poor people standing there, and I think, it's like I told Amanda before church, I see a little boy coming around, a young man going around with his pants halfway down his behind.
Help.
And the first thing I think, somebody I'm judging.
Help.
And what's he telling us to judge? If we judge with a righteous judgment. There's a little more to that right there, but it explains to you, we as people have a tendency to judge people. We can say we don't judge people. Everybody can say, well, I don't judge people. But you do. Honest with yourself. We have to be honest with ourselves.
Much like that prodigal son, though, I don't wonder, but here's the guy who, when he had plenty, had plenty of friends.
Amen.
And
Amen.
he was all just, he wasn't alone when he was spending all that money, he tells you,
But then when he gets loses all that money, he's by himself.
all alone.
And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? Now what's he thinking about? Well, instead of being like kind of refer that to a sinner. You know, we can get out here and be a sinner, can be as low in the world as they can be, and somebody comes along and brings them up about Jesus Christ. Hey, he can lift you up. And you think about that. You think, well, he's just, he's thinking about that. Well, I think about Jesus Christ because he lifts me up every day. He makes me happy. I'm a happy person. You can believe what you want. I'm just happy. I'm just happy. I just love the world. I love the things I do. And I just love to be around people. But above
Bless.
all things,
Sure.
I love to worship for God. I love to tell people about Jesus Christ. I love to tell them about God. Explain to them, because we think sometimes that they know all about it. Maybe they don't. And I think about that little girl, and I've known her for years. And she didn't even know about Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. Gracious, that's sad. And he said, I will arise and go to my father, and I'll say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee. Now what's he doing? He's sitting there on a rock somewhere thinking, man, I have messed up. I wonder if Dad will let me come back to the house. I think about
Bless you.
I think about people that are so anxious to get their children out of the house. I said that. So many people wants their sons and daughters born. Get on your own, go to work, take care of yourself. I wish my boys could stay with me till I died. But it's so sad to think of the people that wants rid of their son. Well, this man didn't want rid of his son. He wanted to go. Do you think that God?
There's a whole lot of sin in that picture right there.
Amen.
Where he done wrong when he went off and spent his inheritance, he ended up where he's at. But then when he made his mind up to go back home and eat with his father, he clothed him, put a ring on his finger.
That'll
Then
get you
guilt,
every
he
rock.
said, guilt, he said. Brother got jumped.
But you think about that, and I think about the way people do it, and I think about God when he sent his son into this world. Think how it felt to him to lose his son. He knows when he sent him into this world, what he was sent into this world for. And he said, am no more worthy to be called thy son, make me as one of thy hard servants. Now you just think about that, how low it would be to go home and tell your dad, say, Dad, just make me one of your servants. Well, I want to be one of Jesus Christ's servants. I want to be the servant that he wants me to be. I want to do and say what he wants me to do and say, and just keep me out of his way. Well, this young man here, he's done got down as low as he can get. He's done got down to feeding the pigs, and I don't guess that's too bad, because I've raised a lot of pigs in my life. I've raised a bunch of them.
I meet a lot of them.
Yes, I'll tell you a little funny thing I saw before I go. That reminded me of something I saw the other day. He said, I'm a vegetarian. I said, I don't eat meat. He said, I eat grapes, and I eat fruits, vegetables, I eat all that stuff. And said, and I give the scraps to my hogs. So my hogs, they're vegetarians. They eat all those scraps and all the berries and stuff. They're vegetarians too. So, and they eat all that. Then they make bacon, and I eat bacon. So that makes me a vegetarian. So see, I'm a vegetarian. I can't eat bacon, but I'm a vegetarian. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and run and fell on his neck and kissed him. You just think today, I can remember back when I got out of the army, the Lord blessed me. I went to Germany. I never had to go to Vietnam, and I was in right at the heat of time. But I can remember as a child coming home from the army, and I can remember I got off the bus and I come walking down the street. Ethel Sue and my dad and mom met me. I can remember how happy my dad was and how happy my mother was. Think how happy this man is. think about how happy. And his son said unto his father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servant, Bring forth the best robe, put it on him, put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet. You know, he was lost. That boy was lost, but now he's found. Well, see, that's what we have to do in the world these days. We have to work to bring people to church, to bring one more into the church. That's how we're going to grow the church, and that's how we're going to do the things that God has us to do. I just can't impress enough to think if each one of us had one person to come to church with us next Sunday morning, think how happy we'd be. Let people come in and see how happy we are here in church. And let them taste it. Let them get a taste. And bring hither the fatted calf and kill him, and let us eat and be merry. Well, you know what we all want to do is eat and be merry. You can tell them I don't eat very much. You know, you can tell them looking at me. But, you know, you think about that. Here he is. His son's been lost. He's come back. They're going to have a big time. They're going to rejoice. Well, I think about that, and I think when Jesus Christ comes back, the rejoicing we'll have. But then I think about all these sinners that's in the world that's going to be standing there looking up. You know, how about me, Lord? How about me, Lord? Get away from me. You know, I never known you. Think about those poor people today. You know, you say, well, you'll be sad because maybe there'll be a brother or a sister, mom or a dad or someone.
Yeah.
You'll be sad because they're not going. But you've got to worry. You've got to take yourself. You've got to be ready to go. You've got to. And through you, you've got to shine light that they can see that they want to be a Christian. My brother's dying with cancer. And I talked to him the other day. I said, Brother Doug, I said, you need to get your life straight. He said, Butch, my life is straight. I said, Doug, you need to get up and go to church. And if nothing else, call me. I'll come and get you. But they can't take that step. They can't take that first step. But I'll say it.
Right.
Old fella don't have no hair. But he'll
Yeah,
fit in.
so-
He'll fit in with a couple guys here in the church, won't he, Chuck?
Yeah.
I'd say nothing to
I'm listening close.
him. And he said, For his son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. I just can't imagine, pardon me, imagine how happy they are that how his dad was happy to see him. I just can't imagine how happy, because you know he knows he's done down. I can imagine what he was wearing when he come back to see his dad and how happy he was.
Right.
But then we'll get down to this one, and I want you to, as I read this, think about yourself as we go through this little part here. Now his elder son was in the field, and he came and drew near, nigh to the house, and he heard music and dancing. Well, now I don't know how many of you ever worked in a field of corn all day, but if you never had the experience, it's tough. It is, you know, you go through, Pop always done the horse and the plow, and I've done the hoe. And you don't realize how hot and how tired you are. And I picture in my mind, I can see the poor old fella come walking up out of the field, and he hears all this music going on up at the house. He says, well, what is going on? You know, what's happened? And he called to one of the servants and asked him, said, what's this mean? You know, what's going on? And he said unto him, thy brother is come, and thy father has killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound. You know, I think about, Roy, we talk about backsliding all the time. You know, we think about people going to church. These people that have backslid, and I believe you can backslide. There ain't no doubt in my mind. But anyway, these people, how happy, just think how happy that Jesus is and the angels in heaven are when that one person said, hey, you know, I need to go back to church. Think about how they would rejoice. And he was angry and would not go in. I'm not going in there. I'm not going to do it. That's not right. I've been right here with Dad all this time.
Right.
I've done everything I was supposed to do.
Right.
And what's happened? My brother goes off and spends half everything he's got, and he comes here. He comes home, and now he's throwing him a big party. He don't give me no party. Would you be mad? Sure. We all would. Sure we would. And he was angry and would not go in. And therefore came out his father and entreated him. I can see his dad coming out to him. I can see, knowing his son's mad, knows he's upset. Rightfully so, I think, but that's beside the point. You know, he's upset with you because you look, Dad, you know, I've been right here. I've been a faithful servant. And I think about Christians. And I think about, well, you hear people ask about, well, I've been a Christian for 5 years. I've been a Christian for 50 years. Or I've been a Christian for 10 years. Whatever it may be. It's good. Don't misunderstand. But I ask you this, as a Christian that's about 50 years, you want to have any more than a Christian that's got one? That's right. Amen. And you think about that, but we think about that, and I used to think, well, God, if they've been there 50 years, they're going to get a bigger reward than I'm going to get. But they're not. We're all going to get the same reward. And he answered and said unto him, Father, lo, these many years do I serve thee. I have neither transgressed, and at any time thy commandments, and yet thou never gave me a kid that I might make merry with my friends. And you know, to me, I can imagine what it was like, how mad he would be. Because you know he's hot, and he's sweaty and tired. His feelings is hurt. How many of us gets our little feelings hurt? Man, it's like it's lie about my feelings the easiest person in the world. My feelings easy hurt. I'll admit it, I won't lie about it. My feelings are easy hurt. And I tell you that because I'm an honest, I believe in being honest. But as soon as the sun was coming in, which had devoured thy living with the harlots, thou hast killed the fatted calf for him. And he said, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Now see, we sometimes we think about that, and we think about, like I said about the Christian, we think, well, I've just been a Christian for 1 year, or 10 years, 15 years, whatever it may be. And we think about, you know, that everything, we're gonna all have the same thing. And we think about, well, what a great day. Can you imagine what a great day it's gonna be that when we go to heaven, when God comes out on that cloud to bring us all home, think how happy we're gonna be. But then I think about how sad so many people's gonna be that didn't get their life right, that didn't confess. You know, it's not hard. It's not hard to be a Christian. My gracious, I love it. I love it.
True.
It's just something. Think about when you was out here running around in the world, doing whatever you done, think about how you were then, and think about how you are now. And think about how much happier you are now than you was then. I think a lot of people have left this world before me. But I just know in my heart that one day I'm going to see him again. We talked about that the other night. It was meet that we should make merry and be glad. For this thy brother was dead, and is alive again, and was lost and is found. And we think about that, and I think about all these people that says, well, mom's in heaven, dad's in heaven. It goes right back to what I said a while ago. You know, we're asleep in the grave. We're going to come out of that grave one day, and we're going to stand before judge.
True.
For the good or for the bad.
True.
And I think just this morning I want you to think as you leave the church, as you go home or go your separate ways, are you going to be the one that brings that one more? Am I going to be the one? Are you going to be the one to bring one more? We have to work to build our churches. We have to work and show Jesus Christ that we are worthy of what he asks us to do each and every day. And we have to work for that one more. And that's all I have. So I took a little more time than I should have, but I really, if you think about that chapter there, it's a good chapter because it tells us about a lot of things that we need to do. And it's good for us. Okay, Grandma, you got